Jam nitty gritty, you're listening to the boy from the big bad city. This is Jam High. This is Jam High.
Welcome to Who's Hot with your host, Wil Chung.
This podcast is brought to you in partnership with the Cult Pod. Maybe it is a fad, and maybe it works. But the Muddy Duck uses it, and he swears it's reduced his recovery time after those long runs. You can get yourself one today and save 10% on that purchase price using code UKHXR. Just head on over to thecultpod.com. Now remember, there may very well be cheaper ones out there, but we don't want you to get caught out with shoddy quality, so we have tried and tested these and can confirm they're great.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the latest UKOCR podcast. This is Who's Hot, and we're here to recap Total Warrior. My name is Wil Chung, and I'm here, as always, with my two co-hosts. I've got Chris Shipley. Chris, hi, how you doing?
Yeah, not so bad. You all right, everyone?
Yes, all good. Becky, you're in France, but how are you? Glad you could jump on today.
Hello. Yes, I'm excited to hear about all the races. I did miss out this time. I'm in Paris for some work stuff, but excited to hear all the results and things.
I know, a hell of a weekend that you've missed. And we actually have a special guest. We've got Andrea Berquez, winner of the female elite race at Total Warrior. Andrea, hello, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Right.
You are very welcome. Thank you for jumping on. There's always been a bit of banter within myself and Alan to see who would be able to get you on the interview first, and I'm really happy to manage to get you on before Alan's been able to get you on the normal podcast. So thank you very much for joining us. So we're here to talk about Total Warrior. Total Warrior was the fourth race of 7 of the UK OCR season. It happened last weekend, Saturday, the 1st of July, up north, as it were, Bramham Park, Leeds. 12 kilometers, very similar course to last year. And as we've already said, Andrea was the winner. And I'll very quickly, actually, whilst we're talking about it, talk through the rest of the female elite team. So Andrea first place, Josie Lloyd second, Fedi was in third place, followed by Karen McQuarrie, Susan Jarman, Charlotte Miller, and Katie Kennington in the elite race. So Andrea, straight over to you. How was it? How was the race? What was the obstacles like? Was this your first time doing Total Warrior?
I think I did do Total Warrior probably about 6 years ago, but I'm pretty sure it was near the Lake District, in a different venue. I might be imagining that. I'm not too sure, but
A place called Shap, I think, on the edge of the Lake District.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I think that was it actually. I don't remember the course very well because that was a very long time ago, but it was certainly flat and fast this time. I think it's the fastest 12k. It was just under 12k, the fastest OCR race I've ever done at that distance, in just under an hour. So
58.
yeah, yes,
Wow.
yes,
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, tell me a little bit more. I mean, obviously you had some great battles, but what were the obstacles like? I mean, I've done a couple of them, some really nice Arctic plunges and things, but in terms of the course itself, fast flowing, but how were the obstacles for you?
to be completely honest, it wasn't a very technical race. The obstacles were nice and flowing, so kind of the start was really flat and fast, and then you kind of came into some hill sprints, up and down, up and down, up and down, and then it quite evenly sent you through the ice plunge straight after that, so you got your heart rate nice and high. And then you went through the ice plunge, which actually, for me, I didn't find that cold, which is absolutely shocking because
Wow.
I'm not terrible and things like that. And some other people said it was quite cold, so maybe I just got a lucky one, or
This is amazing news, Andrea.
yeah, I don't know. But well, actually, I've also found out recently I've been anemic, so I've started to take
Okay.
iron pills, which has kind of helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. But yeah, and then there's some walls after that. And then there's kind of this obstacle where it's like a fire jump, but you couldn't really see over the other side, so you jumped it and you kind of jumped into the water, which was I don't know, I found a bit unnerving because you couldn't really see the other side so much. But it was it was, I mean, I think there was myself and Josie and Fede were quite close for the first probably half of the race. And then I managed to get a little bit of a lead after sort of like halfway. But it was still really close, to be honest, all the way through. But yeah, I mean, the obstacles weren't massively technical. There was like a swim or swing, so you had to go out and hit a bell. There's like an electric shock sort of thing you had to go through.
Last year they didn't have it on.
It wasn't on last time, was it? No.
Oh, was it not?
Was it on this time?
I didn't get shocked, but then I kind of like went for it. When I was approaching it, I thought, I'm just going to run straight through it. And then I kind of got to it and just like cracked around the electric thing. But
last year, I followed someone last year because I hate that. So I just like tucked in behind someone. I was like, please don't get me shocked. Yeah, don't like that obstacle.
It's when you're halfway through and the wind blows and they'll start. But yeah, a guy, I went through it with a guy, and I think he got zapped a few times. I heard it like ticking, so I think it was on. But yeah, I'm not a fan of those either.
Nah.
After Tough Mudder, that's just, yeah.
So basically, you're just indestructible in this race. Cold wasn't a problem. The electricity wasn't a problem. You ran really fast. It's awesome. It's a great race.
There was a high jump which I kind of froze at for a little bit of stop, just a classic sort of death slide moment. But yeah, it was okay. It's okay.
I remember last year watching people do, because I was there filming for UKOCR, and watching that plunge, the high jump or whatever it's called, and there were a lot more people, especially in the elite racing, just taking that second before jumping in, and it's not a difficult obstacle, is it? You're basically just jumping in the water and getting out, but it's just that split second of terror going shit before going in, and I think for some people it's, you know, it really kind of really pushes them to the edge, actually quite literally, but it does just stop some people, and it's interesting how, for me last year, how many elites did kind of stop in their tracks before going across.
Yeah. And that hesitation can like definitely affect performance. That's why when we were categorizing the obstacles, like the primary obstacle challenge as part of the British obstacle sports stuff, we put one called psychological, because it's not like you can't do the obstacle, it's that starting it or going for it. Some people never manage to go for it, and other people, like, it just slows you down a bit more than they're not having a bit where you can't see it, or a big drop or something. So it's definitely a thing. You're not alone.
Yeah, I think actually a lot of the obstacles in Total were more kind of focused on the psychological side. Like they had the cage crawl where you're in the water and, you know, you can only have a little bit of your face sort of I'm trying to think what they call it in other races, but basically where you're in the water and you have to scramble upside down, and there's only a little bit where you can breathe.
Sometimes they call it back scratcher, but that one's less water in sometimes.
It's still got a fair bit of water in it, hasn't it? I remember last year my ears got quite wet.
Yeah, that one of nuts, they took it out last year because it was getting to the point where it was impossible.
Too deep.
So in Tough Mudder, they also had that level up lane, I think, Will, if you remember, but the one where you were crawling under the cage on your back in the water, and then they changed the cage for a panel of plastic or whatever, see-through, so you couldn't actually come up. You know, I mean, you can't come up through the cage anyway, but it feels so claustrophobic. I thought that was quite a hard level up lane. So yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah, it's not fun. So there was that perfect. So you had to go and dunk into the water. They also have, I don't know whether you did what they called Rain Man as well. So they had hose pipes of water dripping down on you as you're kind of pulling yourself across as well. That was an extra level up to that. So yeah.
Nasty.
Sorry, Andrea, back to you in terms of cage crawl and on with the rest of the obstacles.
Yeah, so you kind of had the fire jump, and then there was some like rolling mud, and I think Josie and I were kind of side by side on that section, and then it kind of moves on to more of like the there was like something called YouTube where you had to go through these like tunnels that were half submerged in water and sort of like come out the other side and swim a little bit. There was quite a lot of water on the course, to be honest, but it was luckily a hot day. And I'm trying to think, the swing or swim was kind of like you had to swim anyway because you had to go out on this pole and kind of traverse along it, hit a bell, and then
that was a new obstacle, wasn't it? That was a new one, wasn't it? So it was like a scaffolding with like a bar that you had to traverse over and then hit a bell, was it? Or you could swim.
Yeah, you had to crawl out the other side. And there was like this ramp you went up with, again, it sounded a bit like the one you was just describing, Becky, at Tough Mudder. It had like hose going across it with water coming out, so coming down out the ramp towards you, which was quite a new aspect, really. But it was a very, very wet course, but very runnable as well, which was quite nice. But
And how was your battles with Josie and Freddie? Well, I did get a message from Alan. He asked, so I'm going to kind of say this verbatim. Andrew made a move on Josie around about 3K going uphill. Was this a conscious thing? Because you then put a little bit of a gap on her. So was your race brain going there that you thought, oh, this is a hill, I'm going to go for it?
A little bit, but then actually Josie took off in front of me. She said on the finish line how we actually mentally had a little battle with one another going up that hill. Like, oh, I'm going to have you, like the fun sort of battle. And I just thought, Christ, if I keep at this pace, I'm going to blow up. So I let her go a bit and then regained and then carried on. I've kind of found in my older age that I seem to be progressing at the end of races now, which is maybe a good thing. But it wasn't hilly enough really to really have had that as an advantage. But I do know that, well, I heard that Josie's had unfortunately something wrong with her foot, and I haven't really had the opportunity to race her properly. So I wasn't too sure how the race set out, because it's the first time I was properly racing her, and she was, I believe anyway, in good form. So yeah, it was a bit of a wake up call, maybe.
Yeah, she said to me that you were having quite a good battle at the start of the race, and towards the second half, you just sort of managed to keep that 1 minute lead. So I think that bit of race experience that you got is probably just keeping ahead of her. So, but she's definitely coming up, as old Josie.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, she's really one to watch at the moment. It's really good.
So exciting. So exciting.
And what about having your sort of running apprentice, the one that you're coaching, Frederica? What was it like having her within the battle?
Really good. In fact, probably over the weekend, even in Spartan as well, and Nuclear, there's been times where she's, obviously gained ground on me. So it's obviously we all want to do well in racing, but it's a proud moment when she overtakes me, because I don't know, kind of feel like I'm doing maybe something right there. But she's definitely coming up. And some of these females as well, they're just approaching their prime in racing, so they're only gonna go up. So it's good to see. Whereas I'm kind of getting old. Well, no, I'm not veering off, but it happens.
They say the women last longer than the men.
Apparently so, in endurance sports especially. Yeah.
Can confirm at the conference this week. Yeah.
Men, we just blow up too soon. We're just done. 30 seconds and that's it.
Resilience. For real.
Yeah.
Got a greater capacity for fatigue, according to the scientists.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm.
And we rate things as less fatiguing. And we have to do more fatiguing things. Anyway, carry on.
I'll just cover the Masters female. Then we'll just quickly cover the male race. But Masters female, only two competing this time around. We'll talk about Spartan after the men's as well, because that's probably got something to do with it. But Susan Jarman in first place, 400 points. Katie Kennington second with 372. We'll go over to the male. Here we go. So Dan Titcombe in first place, Gavin Hogarth in second place, Jason Brunnick in third, Dasa Scanella in fourth, Fergal Keeney in fifth, followed by Gareth Smith, James Burton, Matt Roberts, Chris Garton, Jason Westmoreland, John Redman, Greg Stubbs, Paul Smith, Nikki Milam, Duncan Preston, Rick Burgess, and Craig Simia. Chris, I know you've seen a few videos. We've got Gavin on voicemail as well. Shall we go talk about the race and what we've seen from coverage?
Yeah, so it sort of went the way that we sort of expected it to go, and how we sort of predicted the results. So it was Dan at front, and he's just flying at the moment. It's a shame Mo wasn't there to give him a bit of a battle, but Gavin coming back out of High Rocks training and things, he's looking super duper strong. And I did speak to Jason as well, and he said he just didn't have the legs to keep up with Gavin. So it was just pretty much identical to last year, he said. And the obstacles were easy, and just Gavin that ran really well and had the leg speed. So that's really good looking into the season, because Gavin's only got one race under his belt so far.
I was quite interested that the three of us, when we talk about on the preview, don't see Carl Bell. He didn't seem to appear this time around, and I know it's more local race for him than any others. Yeah,
it's a shame really, because this should be the race that he should come to just to get some. He's in the British Obstacle Sports League, isn't he? So for him to get some decent points, this would have been the race for him. So it's a shame that he wasn't there. I don't know what his he might have had some things going on, but yeah, it's a shame he wasn't there in the end. He would have definitely made an impact on that top three, possibly top five.
Definitely. Do you want to play that voicemail? Let's see if that voice note works for us. If not, we might have to edit something in.
Yeah, go for it. Hang on.
I was really impressed with Gavin.
Yeah, he's looking good. He said he's feeling good.
Not far behind at all.
So this is from Gavin.
Hi mate, just to give you a bit more info on Total Warrior, the course was identical to last year, more or less, just a couple of little tweaks. So we knew it was coming, really, which helped, and pacing out pretty fast. It was pretty much myself, Dan and Jason from the get-go, and we created a wee bit of a gap. Dan was sitting probably, for the kind of majority, probably for the first half to maybe 3/4 of the race, he was only maybe like 100 metres ahead or so, 150 metres. It was within sight anyway. Jason kind of tucked in behind me after about 3K. He was I was aware of him on the obstacles, and then I kind of couldn't hear him on the runnings, breathing or anything down my neck on the runnings. So he was maybe 20-30 metres behind me, but always close. Then as we approached, there was a log carry, and that was with about maybe a kilometre to go, maybe just over a K to go, and I was aware of exactly what was to come from that point. So I just tried to kind of put the foot down a wee bit, just basically not let Jason get too close. And I think he kind of, I'm not saying Jason gave up, he just, I think he knew, what he said to me afterwards was that he knew if he did put in a massive effort to try and catch me, then he wouldn't have anything for a sprint finish. And I was kind of psychologically prepared for a sprint finish, which didn't end up materialising. So the last kind of key, I managed to get a decent gap between us. So the kind of home straight was relatively comfortable.
So yeah, that was from Gavin. Sounded like he had a really good race.
I'll go through some of the feedback also from the members of the British Obstacle Sports group. I always put something up the week of the recording. Sorry guys, it was a bit late, but let me go through some of this and then we'll go back to the race. So Michelle Carney, amazing course, lots of fun, really runnable sections with beautiful scenery. was really looked after as a TO. She was TOing on the Saturday morning, and then volley on Saturday too. They went to the extent of lending waterproof jackets to people who had come unprepared without the proper clothing. Don't think I've ever seen that before at an event. Loved it, and we'll be back next year for the Ultra, just so I can do the course twice. I'll come back to the Ultra as well. Katie Kennington, who was second in the Female Masters, volunteered on the kids race on the Friday. So much fun. It is actually one of the very few races that has a full weekend. So they do put on a race on Friday, which is great. And in the dates for mostly the local schools and the scouts and everything else, that's great. Sorry, back to Katie. After much bullying and coercing, looking at you, James Burton and Alan Moore, raced the series on Saturday, had a great time, pushed some personal limits and finished with points. Whoop, whoop. Smith, brilliant race, well organised, family field with great atmosphere. Our 10th year taking teams next year and can't wait. And Chris Hill, absolutely amazing. Love the Ultra in the Sunday. So many great people mucking in together. The obstacles were great, as were their placement. Volunteering on the Saturday on the plunge was a right hoot. We had a great time supporting the runners and accepting the challenge. And I think, Andrea, I guess going back to you, one thing that I did notice last year when I've run it a couple of times, it's you said it was free flowing in it, and I think it is, isn't it? You kind of have maybe one or two obstacles, nice bit of running, straight into another couple of obstacles, a bit of running. So it's not just necessarily stop, but it does give you enough time to kind of put your foot down and go for it.
Yeah, one thing I noticed was that the obstacles were very evenly spread. Like it was almost measured, to each school. You there wasn't a massive section that you were running, or like a cluster of obstacles, which I actually quite liked.
Right.
Like a track session, was it, Andrew? Intervals.
Flat. Oh yeah,
measured.
But it was I've got to say it's probably the most popular OCR I've seen. Like I think on the Saturday there was something like 5,000 people taking part. I might have that wrong. And it was actually quite evenly spread. The split the male and female competitors. If you look at the results on Saturday, which normally it's 3/4 men, but it seems to be have quite a big female following. And there was actually a non-binary leaderboard, which the first I've seen in a race, which was new.
That's awesome. The whole community can get involved. Nice. It's obviously working.
Yeah, amazing. I will go to the male masters results. Dascanella in first place, James Burton in second, Chris Garton in third, Jason Westmoreland, John Redmond, Greg Stubbs, Paul Smith, Nicky Milam, Duncan Preston, and Rick Burgess in the Masters. I just want to shout out to the Ultra. So the Ultra was, I think, is a 6-hour race on the Sunday. Go out and do as many laps of the course. There's 2 laps. You can either do the short one, which is 6K, or the long one, which is 12K. And I just want to shout out the top 5 for male and female. It looks like they all did the 6K laps, but Russell Ford, Chris Henderson, Russell Ford with 9 laps, 4 hours 41. Chris Henderson 8 laps, 4 hours 42. Paul Fortune 8 laps. James Gibson 8 laps, and Anthony Featherstone in 5th place with 7 laps, 4 hours 30. And in the females, we've got Amelia Monaghan, 7 laps, 4 hours 54. Mari Seller, 6 laps, 4 hours 14. Katrina Morley, 6 laps. Amy German, 6 laps. And just behind, so Amy German, 6 laps, 4 hours 40, 14 seconds. And Emma Wells, 6 laps, 4 hours, 40 minutes, 22 seconds. So if Emma just kind of maybe ate her gel a little bit quicker, she might have got 4th place. But shout out to all the warriors out there doing the Ultra.
Yeah, I love the Ultras.
I love the Ultra. Chris, I think you need to come and do an Infinity with me at some point.
I really want to do your World's Toughest at some point, but it just doesn't fit in with training for the shorter races. So I might do a James Burton, and when I've finally got that podium that I'm after, I'll try and aim for a World's Toughest mudder.
Hopefully I'm back there next year. Any more thoughts about male race, female race, masters race before we go over to the overall standings?
No.
Okay, so current standings after race 4 of 7. So we'll start with the teams first because that's what pops up first. Nuclear Phoenix with 10 races, 4,335 points. Second place is Rumble Racing, 10 races, 3,905. Third is OMRM, 3,792. Fourth is Primal Fitness, 3,728 points. Fifth is Nuclear Wild Forest, 3,544. And Team Grit, Team Nuts, PT Barn Races, OPP Warriors, Fit. Oh, where is that gone? Fit Body Farm, Freestylers in 10th place. Field Fit 11th. Team Atlas 12th. HY OCR 13th. Team Viper OCR 14th. Raw Obstacle Race Team 15th. And Playground OCR Team 16th. This keeps going. Oh, here we go. Northern Adventure 17th place. Nuclear Races Team. I didn't know there was 3 teams, but 18th place, and NGOCR Fitness in 19th place in the teams. Go over to the males. So Jason Bunnock, first place, 4 races, 1,720 points. Second place, Fergus Keeney, 4 races, 1,515 points. Third is Dan Titcombe, 3 races, 1,465. Matt Roberts in 4th place with 4 races, 1,385 points. And Morgan Maxwell in 5th place, 3 races, 1,365. Over to the female. Federica Dicaria, first place, 4 races, 1,780 points. Only 30 points behind so far is Josie Lloyd, Primal Fitness, 4 races, 1,750 points. They're the only 2 female competitors that have finished with 4 races so far. Our very own Becky Neal, Nuclear Phoenix, is in 3rd place with 3 races, 1,285. Karen Macquarie in 4th place, 3 races, 1,167. So actually chomping at your ankles there, Becky. Tamar Barkley, only 3 points behind Karen with 3 races at 1,164. We've then got Louise Furman in 6th, Libby Joyce in 7th, Cheryl Beach in 8th, Shelley Tompkins in 9th, Ruth Bassey in 10th, Emma Kirkwood in 11th with 3 races. Our own Andrea, you have 2 races in 12th place, Elizabeth Brimickham 13th, Pip Rainbow and Cheryl Lee Pace in 14th place, Shyla Duhani in 16th place, and Enkani Casillas in 17th place, Claire Bancroft 18th place, Kerry White and Megan Tranter in joint 19th place, and Catherine Fahy in 21st place. So actually it's going really deep down. So guys, I just want to talk, and maybe we'll start with Andrea's first. 4 races in now. And for the UK OCR series, you count 4 races out of a total of 7. Where do we start to go with tactics now? Andrea, I know you've done 2 races. Are you looking to do more races? Are you kind of picking and choosing, or you just want to do a bit more mountain and Wainwright bagging?
I think I'm hoping to dip back in a little bit later in the year. I've got something quite big coming up, so yeah, I might be out of it for a little bit and then hoping to come back in end of the year. But yeah, I did kind of have the Golden Trail series sort of like lined up for this year, but already that's starting to change as well. But I'm just the worst for having a race schedule. I just can't stick to it. You know, something else up and I think, oh, I'll do that instead, or but yeah, I will come back into the OCR series later on, hopefully.
How many races we got left?
3 races left.
3. So you've got 3 races, Andrea. 3.
Yeah, but you can care about only one of them. The first British champion, potentially.
Becky doesn't want you to be. Becky's chomping at everyone's heels, so she wants to be champ.
No, I want to perform well at Worlds.
I think, Andrea, just talking about you and your race schedules, one thing, as you know, hopefully you're a listener to Who's Heart, but we always talk on the preview, oh, is Andrea going? And it's like, oh, Andrea's not on the list. And all of a sudden, she's there. She's racing. So, yeah, we know how crap you are at kind of scheduling your races.
It's become a lot worse this year because I work weekends now at a clinic, so I've taken on a new job as a sports therapist, and yeah, it's kind of been all over the place with other therapists. Another therapist there's a rugby player and she's injured her wrist, so I was taking time up for her last minute. now she's left, so I'm filling in time here and there. But yeah, it's been a bit chaotic, really. Hopefully it starts evening out a little bit and I can properly commit, because I myself don't like entering things last minute. I like the whole psyching up the week before and knowing what's happening and where I'm going to be. So last weekend we stayed in a van. I slept in the van and drove down to the other race. It just felt horrific, none of it was planned. It all kind of has a knock-on effect to your racing, obviously. So hopefully moving forward now it'd be a bit more.
So, and I forgot about this, but let's just go back to the weekend and talk quickly about Spartan. Do you think, and this is an open question to all of you, but having the UKOCR series race Total Warrior same weekend as Spartan, it seemed like people were split down the middle. There's a few mad people, Andrea including, that did both races, but it did seem as though people were kind of choosing one or the other. Is there anything that we could do about this as maybe as a sport, or do we think actually you're always going to have maybe an OCR racer and a Spartan racer?
Well, I mean, British Obstacle Sports are already facilitating conversations between race directors as far as is possible. And I think it definitely did dilute the races by having people in two places at once, which is why for the national trials, we made sure that this event was the only event where you could do that. And so everybody had to race head to head basically, but there was still room for if you had an injury or whatever. So I think, it is most exciting when everyone's running head to head, but I can definitely think there's room for a variety of races and a variety of events still. I think in other countries there is more kind of defined, this person's a Spartan racer, this person's an obstacle course racer. Sometimes in other countries it seems like that way. Whereas, we don't have tons of variety in all the, there definitely is, but maybe not as wide as some other places. So we all want to do all of them, and we all try and do all of them, and got different strengths and weaknesses, and so it's nice. But yeah, when things clash, it does dilute the competition.
It was definitely, I think it was noticed at Spartan that there was, another OCR happening at the same time. It made it exciting, not knowing, who was doing what going into the weekend. There was some fresh faces at Spartan on the Sunday. And there's people that had done the Beast the day before, and people that had obviously done Total Warrior. So even fresh faces coming into the sprint, people that hadn't raced at all weekend and just turned up for the sprint, which was, I must admit, that must have been a bit quite an advantage. But
that is how you should race and train, right? Specifically. We all just enjoy it too much. I'm the same.
That's the trouble. Yeah.
But Mo's obviously being accountable and
he is
targeting his races.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, if there's a race, obviously Total Warrior was Saturday, but if it was the other way around and Sunday was the point scorer or some sort of league race, then I probably would have gone in fresh too, because it's what you
we saw that in the prize money races in Sparta, didn't we? People not racing the Saturday and only racing the Sunday when money was involved.
Yeah. I just, and people have got lives, some people can't do both days all the time, or can't afford the accommodation on top of the races, and
can't afford a Spartan race. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So thank you, and sorry for going all around the houses there, but so we're now 4 races in, 3 to go. Chris, tactics now. If you've got 4 races in, are you going to keep racing to push people down? Are you, maybe if you're on 3 or maybe even 2 races, you're going to start picking and choosing? What would your thoughts be at this sort of time now? We've kind of got maybe your first points in the bag.
Well, it's going to be the next race is going to be the one that you're going to see the racers who really, really care about the series, because the next race is up in Scotland. So if anyone really wants to make some points up from down south, they're going to have to make the huge trip all the way up across the border into the top of the British, wherever they are up in Scotland there, and Aberdeen. Race up there. Yeah, Aberdeen. Yeah, where all the cows are. So, that's going to show who really cares about the series. And then after that, what's the race we got after that? Nuts. Unfortunately, it's only a 7K. I think some people would prefer it to be a little bit longer, but that's going to be another test. And then you got the final at the British Champ. So the races that are coming on now are quite technical races, really. They're not the fast races. So people aren't going to be able to choose. They're just going to have to go for it and race all they got. to try and make these points up, especially in the ladies' field. That is super tight. That could go anyway. Anyone could have that.
Yeah.
It might all come down to the last race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the
That'd be-
guys, actually. Oh,
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
top 5 in each male and female. You couldn't
Yeah.
put money on who's going to be on the top.
Sounds like something Alan will set up.
So we'll very quickly talk about beach ballistic because it was on the calendar last year. Sand running, and I remember seeing those. Not only sand running, there was that bucket that empties, so you have to go get the water. Oh my! And that's so. Never mind it being 16K, which is a relatively long race. It's quite energy zapping too. So this might suit the people like Andrea, who's now becoming a bit more of an endurance runner that can just grind it out.
And Kate Stillwell was really strong there, wasn't she? Even managing the directions all right, I think. And there was that tough rig at the end, was it? I wasn't there, but I remember hearing quite a lot of detail about it. It's tough.
You've got good cadence over stand as well, haven't you, Andrea, with the Spartan in Abu Dhabi that you did quite well at.
Yeah, I don't sand running. I don't mind sand running, but mud running is not my cup of tea.
You're definitely in the wrong country.
Yeah, there's you can definitely tell the difference between Kate's an absolute powerhouse through mud. She's just
cycle legs, isn't it?
It's
that
powerful
legs.
Strength, yeah. But yeah, I unfortunately I won't be at Beach Ballistic, so and I actually won't be. I'm not just gonna pop up last minute. I won't be there.
What about nuts or actually that's quite a tricky one because it's dodgy belly and things coming up. So
I've always been fine at nuts, just don't drink enough.
Oh, is that what it is? You just don't drink it.
Keep your mouth closed.
Such a boy.
But beach ballistic to be bad. I hate running on sand. I actually don't like the feeling of sand. I can't pick it up. If I pick it up, I get goosebumps.
Oh my God.
Just the thought of touching sand, I really hate. So,
not relaxing.
Oh, it's horrible. I hate the feeling of it. It's disgusting. I can't go to the beach. I hate going to the beach.
I'm gonna send you photos of the sand every week.
I see your beach photo sandy things and I don't like it.
Oh.
Giving me goosebumps now.
Blocked. Honestly, it's the best sand.
No, it's not.
Oh. Perfect sand. Go on holiday and the sand's never as good as at home.
The Spartan World Champs is certainly not your cup of tea then.
Nah, I said I'd never go there. I said, I'd hate to go there. I think Ferg said to me, "Oh, you've qualified for Abu Dhabi," and I went, "I ain't going there."
No.
Hate sand. Like a phobia.
Oh.
Well, we'll have a whole preview podcast about beach ballistic, I'm sure.
We will. So just I guess finishing off. So Andrea, I know you kind of mentioned what you're doing next, but what's your next race coming up? Would you like to tell us, or are you keeping that secret?
You know what? I was trying to keep it quiet because like anyone cares exactly, but just because I failed it last year. So yeah, it's not a race. It's
Bob Graham.
Bob Graham.
Yes, go for it again. Yes.
It's seriously impressive.
Yeah.
Even just
Amazing.
going for that, Andrea, is seriously impressive.
The thing is, like on paper, I mean, it does sound horrendous on paper, but
fun.
Yeah, but you've run on the country.
Yeah, but you got to do Bob Graham like quick. That's so fast. You've got to do it so fast.
And hilly.
Yeah.
How many is it? 47 summits. How many is it?
42 p.
40.
It's just over 66 miles, and there's 27,000 feet of 6,000 meters of elevation, which is 27,000 feet of elevation. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not very good. I work in meters and miles.
Meters is good.
I think meters.
3 isn't 27.
It still sounds horrific with the total elevation gain anyway. Amazing.
Hopefully the weather's better for you this year.
Hopefully. Yeah, it's next weekend.
Is it?
Yeah.
Will, don't look at the weather. Don't look at the weather, Will.
I won't.
Jinx it.
I won't.
You've got the crew helping you?
Yes, yeah, just about. It's we're on a bit of a skeleton shift from last year, but I think it'd be fine. Hopefully, it's just really boils down to the weather, and it's just keep eating. I think that was the biggest thing I found last time. Was the actual eating, because you know, it gets to like night and you're still trying to ram in, I don't know, pasta and food, and your bowels are thinking, you know, what the hell's happening here? Yeah, the food I really struggled with last year. And I kind of set off with an injury, which is not to be doing an injury, but yeah, hopefully.
You would have learned a lot from that experience, though. That experience will take you like a long way to begin with in this time around. So, you know, practicing eating some more on your own.
And that was, you know, the Golden Trail series. Sorry?
What were you saying about Golden Trail series?
Oh, so like the Golden Trail series was kind of like trying to get my legs to the elevation, because I know living down south, you know, there's obviously plenty of hills down here, but legs are not conditioned for continuously for 20 odd minutes or whatever down, you know, and then the hikes up. So I think that was one of the first things I really realised when I first started visiting the lakes, was that Christ, my legs, you know, I was getting all kinds of things like tendonitis in my quads, my knees were starting to hurt, my ankles felt weak. So it was a massive like thing of chasing all these things around my body to try and strengthen stuff, because it's a totally different kind of running. But yeah, hopefully I'm equipped this time. Fingers crossed.
Just being out there would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, to try and experience it twice. I mean, you're so lucky just even having a crack at it.
Yeah, that's it. And keep a positive mind, keep eating, and keep moving forward. Yeah.
That's it.
But think fast about it, by the way. I mean, majority of it is hiking, really. It's just time on the feet. Yeah.
That's I can't wait to see how you get on.
Thank you.
So good luck, Andrea. You can follow Andrea on Instagram, Andrea _Berquez. She's also a running coach, so if you're after some coaching and running, you can follow that on freeform _running. My thanks, as always, to my two Elite Runner co-hosts. We've got Chris Shipley, Obstacle Race Dude, and Becky Neal at the Runner Bean. This has been the UKOCR League Series, recapping Total Warrior. If you want to join the League Series, then you must join British Obstacle Sports as a member. You can follow them on Instagram at British Obstacle Sports. And of course, if you haven't already, you should be following UKOCR across all the channels at UKOCR. This is it for Total Warrior, but we will be back next month to preview Beach Ballistic, which is this Saturday, the 5th of August. If you haven't already and you want to join in the 16K of fun of beach running, go to beachballistic.com. The entry fee is really low, £45 plus the fees, which is £47.19 altogether. So absolutely fantastic value for an OCR. So my name is Wil Chung. This has been the Total Warrior UK OCR series recap. So it's goodbye from me and goodbye from the rest of the team. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. No bloopers.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways.